Hello, good afternoon. This is a cup of juice with juice. I completely forgot to post every one of my check-ins for the past 3 weeks, as well as the story about just tales of my adolescence and being poor. I am wearing pants. Okay. Sorry, had to make sure because I can't don't like being don't like recording videos if my pants aren't on. These I'm wearing shorts. Okay, anyway. Sorry. I am going to relax. I'm sorry. I've been messing around with this microphone trying to make it work and have been laughing to myself way too much. I make myself laugh way too easily. A lot of people on TikTok thought I didn't even mean to post anything like about, I was just like, oh, well, nobody's joining my live, so a lot of these people aren't going to really know me. And I think like if you don't really watch the things if you don't really get to know me, if you don't spend the time to look at me outside of just what I put on my platforms, then you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who you're laughing with. You don't know anything about them. You're just like, no one will understand why I'm so easily to anger or anything like that. Mind you, I'm also way out of sleep right now. I'm trying to stay awake as much as I can. I'm probably going to go live streaming and just do it as long as I can to keep me awake because that'll keep me alert. I don't need to wear these. Hold on, where'd my pick go? I don't have it. Wow, professional. High quality. You can tell by my bed that doesn't have sheets. I took them off to clean them and then forgot. Whoops. And it's been like that for quite a bit. I'm lazy. Forgive me. Okay? You can see my hamper. They're probably in there right now. You guys should definitely get 2 sets of sheets. You know what I mean? Just rotate them out. But I don't have that kind of money. Anyway, on to 2 minutes of nothing. These are stories of when I was a kid. I wasn't as poor as... Well, I was poor. I was homeless off and on. But I never felt that way, to be honest. Like, truly, because my mother worked very hard, and I didn't know any different. So, to me, this was my everyday. And I didn't know that people... In fact, here's the story. When I was a kid, I thought everybody lived in an apartment. My earliest memories, when I can remember, are from the apartment we used to live in. We were all... When I was 4 or something like that. In fact, my cognizance came to be when my mom told me to go get diapers, and I ran over and I was like, I'm a big kid, I don't need diapers. And then it's been horrible after that. I really wish that my brain didn't click on that day. That's when it started going downhill. I was like, God, I could have just been blind it could have been a blind playthrough, but nope, I had to have a consciousness. Anyway, but I didn't know that other people, like when people had houses, I was aware. I wasn't a dumb kid, but I just always thought it was weird that people just had all that space to themselves. And even now, I feel comfortable in tight, like closed, small areas more than I do big, large areas. Whenever I would go over to people's houses and they were too nice, you just feel like you're tracking in dirt. You feel like you're filthy. My mom made sure that we always looked nice, be bathed. She was very ornery about us brushing our teeth, which I'm failing right now and in my adulthood. I guess out of spite. Had nice clothes and everything like that. But when you don't have access to the same things as other people, and you live in a poor environment where every day is a guess, you just feel filthy, I was always aware of the difference. And in fact, when I was a kid, I genuinely hated rich people. I blamed them for the problems that my mom had. I blamed cartoon caricatures of rich people because I thought that was so rude, that they were so mean to everybody, and it just bolstered my hatred of them, which is probably why I'm a Bernie supporter now. Anyway, but I was born in Louisiana, in the parish of Houma. I did not grow up there. I would go back there every summer. My grandparents would pay for the trip. My grandparents are pretty well off, but my mom isn't. But, my mom would pretty much send us over there, and at first it was like, you think it's because, oh, it's that thing that you do. It's just what you do. But really, I think it was more so to help out my mom. Because I lived in separate states. I was in Louisiana until I was 2. Then we came, I'm not going to tell you where, but we moved because I'm still here. So we moved, and I've been here ever since. And I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to leave. I'm a very private person about almost every detail, except obviously, emotions. But I just like to keep up a barrier, I guess. I from 4 till about 6, we had an apartment. There's a lot that I can't remember. A lot of places that we went. We moved around so many times that it's not. We stayed at people's houses. So my earliest memories were in that apartment. My mom was working 24/7. There was never a moment that she wasn't on. You know what I mean? Even when she got home and was unwinding, you could see it in her face and her eyes. It was always like, what's the next thing? What do I do now? You know what I mean? She'd try to drown it out. Everybody drowns it out. People turn to drinking. People turn to this. Everybody tries to drown it out any way they can, because when you're in that survival mode, you just need something to dull it. Hers was a glass of wine and a murder documentary. Which pretty much all she'd ever watch is just that, 24/7. It doesn't matter. Like, there's one TV that we all shared. Well, no, she got my brother and I a TV, and then there was a TV in the living room. So there was only 2 TVs in the house. She only got a TV in my brother's room because she wanted to keep us away. My sister was fine with watching whatever my mom wanted to watch. I just wanted to, bond with my mom, pretended that I was like, but really I wanted to watch cartoons. They're interesting now, but, back then you're just a kid. Anyway, I'm a rambler. My bad. I can still remember every aspect of that apartment. It's funny what comes into you, because I remember... What's weird is that I weirdly remember being there already, and then remember our first day coming there. So I think that, my memories were all over the place. But, so that diaper story I was telling you, like, that happened after, because I came in. So I literally came into this house, into this apartment, and then I look over, and then there's like this shadow figure that runs across from the bathroom to that, and I run over and go check it out, and it's not there. Used to see stuff like that. No more, but I don't know if that was a dream or not, but it stopped, looked at me. It was like something from Lilo and Stitch. That does not have anything to do with being poor. That's probably just my own problem, but whatever. Anyway, my mom... I remember a lot of key things, like when my mom was trying to get food stamps for us. She was trying to apply for food stamps. She was trying to figure all this out. She was like 30 at the time, 30 something, almost 40. Not really, but she had me when she was 30. So I remember going into the government building. I remember her filling out all the paperwork. She had to bring us along. I didn't want to go. But I remember my mother was never like a frilly person. She was always a very matter of fact, not like her mom, who's like this gruff lawyer. She's more like a muted version of her. She cussed like a sailor when she felt like it. She had a very short temper. Out of anybody I've ever met, my mother's temper is the shortest. Even shorter than mine, and my temper is pretty short. I try to have as much patience as I can, because I don't want to be like my mom, but sometimes it just blows out of proportion. Anyway, so she would never lie. Sometimes she would, sometimes she wouldn't, but she would just be very upfront about everything. Like, I'd be like, why do we need to get food stamps? And she was a very dry wit kind of person. She liked to be funny herself. Even to a 5-year-old that might not get that, or a 6-year-old, whatever. Because we need to survive. just tired of us asking questions. I don't know if she brought other people, if she brought all of us or just me, but I guess I've just kind of push out my brother and sister. So it was just my mother, my brother, and my sister and me. It was when we were before the food stamps, it was bad. She did what she could, and then after the food stamps, it'd be good temporarily. We treated it like a holiday. So whenever the food stamps would come in for the month or whatever, we'd be ecstatic. It'd be like Christmas again and again, because you'd come home from school and the pantry would be full of non-perishables, of course, stuff that she could make, but she'd also try to get snacks and whatnot and candies because she just liked pleasing us. She may not have been like a very frilly. I guess I just not like your mom's. I don't know. Just she wasn't like a oh my oh, you know what I mean. But she was a very very sentimental woman. She loved us more than anything, and that's the only reason why she kept going, was because of us. But the things I remember from being poor, I got all my brother's hand-me-downs because it saved money, and my mom thought it'd make us look cute when we matched. I hated it, but we did it. My brother and I shared a room. My sister and my mom shared a room in this apartment. My brother and I shared a bed up until the point where we both couldn't sleep in the same bed. We were just too big. So I don't know how I got opted for the floor, but the floor is where I was. So when I wasn't sleeping directly on the floor, I'd be sleeping on an air mattress. Except sometimes I would pop, and then I'd be back onto the just plain floor. When it wasn't, when it was there, my mother would just slide it under. My brother and I shared like a day bed. It was very small, which is why I don't like sharing my bed with like people. You know what I mean? Like I used to have a best friend, and he got upset at me that I didn't like want to like share a bed like lengthwise, whatever and that. And I was like, dude, I just don't want to. I don't. And yes, there was a girl in my bed, literally in front of him, while I was saying that. But it's different because you know why. It was just different. Okay, shut up. All right, but whatever. But I sleep in the fetal position. I've no longer been forced to do that with my legs all the way tucked up into my chest, but I used to do that because it was the easiest way to be warm. I either slept in a sleeping bag on the air mattress or directly on the floor, depending on what. If I spilled stuff on this the Blue's Clues sleeping bag, my mom would take it and get it, wash it and whatnot. She was a neat freak. I guess she was always trying to find control in a chaotic life. Find some way. For her, she wanted a clean house, a clean kitchen. It was just always, everything had to be pretty and pristine. We had to be looking nice because even though we were poor, she just didn't want us to look like it. You know what I mean? Not because of what she cared about other people. It might have been somewhat that, but really I guess it was just her way of showing that she cares, So she cared a lot, trust me. But yeah, I slept in the fetal position a lot, and it carried over into the rest of my life to the point where I can only sleep on my back straight when there's someone next to me, and I don't like sharing my bed. So, but whenever there is someone, that is the only time that I am fully, and even then, I am so uncomfortable, and I am trying my best to, at some point, move over so I can tuck my legs a little bit. I just can't sleep anywhere but on my side. Because the floor was always hard on my back. It was always just hard on my back. So, you slept on your shoulder. You could get the pillow right underneath your neck. Your neck didn't. I don't know what it was. The pillows weren't that great, but you were warmer. I was directly on the floor, so it was colder. And we were on the bottom of the bottom apartment, so it got cold on the floor. All right. I didn't resent my brother for that. I didn't resent anybody for that. I just accepted that that's how it was. My brother and I shared pretty much everything, every game console, And I guess that's why later on I just don't like sharing stuff. I don't like having people. I fought with my sister on things because I just didn't want to share. I don't like sharing my space. I don't like sharing anything. I like being alone. Um, um, I'm trying to think of whatever. I can as I remember these later on post other videos of like the avenues and stories of when I was poor. Um, I'm trying to think right now. Free food at the lunchroom. Uh, you know, you get it as long as you have the card. Otherwise, you just be getting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that was probably frozen, still in the middle, and a string cheese. And I hated that string cheese. I don't know why I did at the time. I just everything about the plate just angered me. I could just taken it, but I just hated it. It just was like a reminder, All these other kids had all their snacks, and it always irked me, I wasn't envious of them. I wasn't angry at them for what they had. I was just like, or mad at my mom. I just was like, it's so unfair. I want what they have, So I was envious of them, but I wasn't like angrily envious, I just thought, oh well, that looks fun. Yeah, more so about it. Like even in my adulthood, more going back to what I said very early on about how you feel dirty. Even now, like whenever I'm in environments that are just like the road work is nice, the mulch is all around, the walls are all painted, nothing's broken. There's nothing going wrong. Like I just go into a house and I just look at stuff and I think, oh, that's probably not going to last. Oh, that's not going to last. That's what's being poor is just always assuming nothing will last. Not just appliances, but situations. At least in my experience, in my family, we just always were very matter of fact. My mother and I, we share a lot of similarities. My mother finally has a house of her own. I don't. I'm trying, guys. I'm really trying to start getting ads and whatever. I'm trying to make money any way I can. Even though I quit my job, whatever. I have other ways. I have ways of making money, and I am making money. I'm fucking hustling, but doesn't mean it costs. Anyway. But even now, like, I go in there and I have to turn that off for her. I just turn it off because I just don't want to. I don't want that to be what my mom, because she's 50 now, and I just don't want that to be in her head. Because she'll tell me I'm scared, and I'm just like, no, you got it. You did this because you were working hard. You worked hard every day. You have so many different qualifications for different things, and you finally found something that worked because of the help you got. And that just goes to show you things can change if just one person changes your, because my mom works real estate, and her boss Betty pretty much taught her the ropes and helped her out, and changed her life. She does well. I mean, every time you can see it if you go into her house, because she bought so many nice things. Oh my goodness! I go in there and I'm like, Ma, you can't be buying this. She doesn't spend it willy-nilly. It's just that she now buys, like, every once in a while she'll like buy a nice thing, like her lamps. She has new lamps. She had her kitchen has, like, she got like tile put in one wall. She got a deal on it, but I'm happy for her. It's good. But me, I'm a frugal man. I can't even spend money. I have money saved up, not a lot, but enough. But that's all what if money. Every dollar I get is what if money. I hate spending it. I mean, I spend it on food every once in a blue moon, or on drinks every once in a blue moon, but then I just come home and feel terrible. We used to call the homeless shelter the house with all the people, my brother and I. My mom and my family, when we got evicted. Oh, here's a story. I'll end this up. I won't make this too long. I won't make this. It's already about 20 minutes, but I'll end it up with this last story. That'll be it. And then if you guys want to hear any more stories, and if you want to hear me talk more about my life, I'll gladly do that. If you're interested. If you're not, then Anyway. Oh, God, shut up. Sorry, my news reports. I'd never got them before, and out of nowhere this year or recently, they just keep popping up left and right, left and right. It's getting on my nerves. I don't need to know so much all the time. I don't need to know everything every 2 seconds. Okay? Just put it all in one neat little bubble, okay? Just tell me at the end of the week, hey, here's what happened this week. It's not like, what am I going to do with it? What am I going to do with it? I don't need the news immediately. Unless it's imperative knowledge. Okay, sorry. See, I better not have forgotten what I was about to say. House of the people. Oh, yeah. When we were being evicted from the apartment, my mom, we had a lovely people. If you guys are interested, I'll tell you about them later. My aunt Joe and Sue, they're both dead now. They're not related to us, but I always viewed them as like close family because they've been with us for a long time. Joe, back when he was young and spry, he got everything loaded up in his truck. He like came over, just drove on over, loaded everything in his truck. My mom found a way to get into storage, and then we either slept around people's places. My mom, had to do certain things I can't get into. Not like that. I'm talking. Okay, so it doesn't sound like that. We had to sneak back in to the apartment. We just, I don't know if the landlord let us or whatever, but we just sleep on the floor. It's things like that make me unable to watch The Pursuit of Happiness because, 2 reasons. I don't have a dad, and my mom pretty much worked as hard as that guy in The Pursuit of Happiness. And there's that scene in the bathroom where he's putting his foot against the door. and he's just crying, and he just wants his son to sleep, and people are trying to push the door in. And I stupidly said, at the time, because I just didn't have a dad, and I just wanted to be loved. My mom had no time. She loved me. It's just she literally had no time. She was raising my brother and my sister, who needed 20 times more attention, even though I also needed the dang attention. And it was just, she was spent. I said that I think my daddy would do that for me. That's what my dad do for me, and yet he isn't. My mommy is doing it for me. My mom is literally staring at me doing it, and she didn't want to tell me. She didn't want to tell me any different. She just said, yeah, and then kept watching. That pensive look on her face, like kind of sad, not like, just, yeah. That nobody knows what you go through. Nobody knows what you do. Nobody knows the things that you have to put up with. Everybody just calls you lazy. Everybody just looks down on you if you're poor. Everybody that has money just looks down at you. Kids that have never worked a day in their life. Mommy and daddy have all the money, and yet they're just like, oh, I'm sorry that my mom and dad are better workers than you. My mom worked tirelessly. She did what she had to. And sometimes the cards are just there's always a new expense. There's always something. Our car kept messing up. She's not a mechanic. There's always a new problem. The amount of things that she would do just to keep our head above water. She never even got to relax, And it always irked me. These moms and dads, these kids that get to go on vacations every single year, and they talk like they know what it's like to work in the economy, like to work day in and day out. I've been working since I was 16. This year has been the only year since I was 16 that I haven't had a job, that I haven't had another job lined up. I have never been fired from anything. Technically, I have been fired from my job at Outback, but I don't count that because, it was more like we had a fight with the manager, and they say that you're like, well, all right, then don't come back or whatever, because, whatever, it's a restaurant. But then, like 2 seconds later, you're walking right on back to work, You're like, oh, I hate this place, I'm never coming back. And then, you're like, well, I need the money. So I'm wearing shorts, by the way. Just want YouTube to know that. Um, but I worked 3 jobs just to get the car I had. I put in work, and people just call you lazy. People just love to look down on poor people. When you have poverty written on your face, when you complain, anything at all. Like people with the especially woke Twitter people, they like to say, not woke Twitter, but money woke. The fake fruit money gurus that think they know everything. You know, they like to say, "Oh, well, you put in the work, you should be able to do something." And you're like, "Well, sorry, if you're working 3 jobs," then I said, "Yeah, I was working 3 jobs so I could have a car, and I saved up the money. I got to $8,000." And then I bought a $6,000 car so I could have $2,000 left over so I could pay that. And then I kept working those jobs until my job at the grocery store changed. I was trying to get a manager job, but at the time I was also trying to work as a mechanic, and I thought, oh, that'll be better because I'm more of a hands-on person. Okay, anyway, more of a hands-on person. I don't like people. I don't like staring in front of them. Jeez, I say I'm not going to make it long, and then I'm just still rambling. Whatever. It's going to get back to the story that was going to make this the end. That's going to be the end of the story. Whatever. Whatever. And I was working pretty much for free, just trying to learn things. I learned a lot. I learned how to change tires. I already knew how to change tires, but I already knew how to change oil, but I learned a little bit more. I learned how to check my fluids. I learned how to change an alternator. There's not everything is just replacing parts in being a mechanic, but there's a lot of stuff that you'd be surprised. They're just simple fix. I think everybody should be able to learn how to change their brakes. I think the most important things that you should learn as a mechanic, or not as a mechanic, but as a person taking your car, dealing with your car, is how to change your oil, how to take care of the fluids in your car, what kind of fluids are important for your car, because it does matter. Changing your brakes and changing your tires. You don't need to know how to change an alternator. You don't need to know how to do any of that other stuff. Really, honestly, if you buy the part, if whatever, I say take it to a mechanic. If it's not your oil, if it's not your tires, if it's not your brakes, if it's not if it's the axis, then take it in. Or if your brake pads are bent or not brake pads, but the metal is like a little bit too warped or whatever. I'm not an expert. I wasn't there for long, but you know what I mean. Like there's certain things that you should leave to an expert, unless you're actually a mechanic. You know what I mean? Unless you're already what you're doing. Otherwise, just learn the basics because they're very simple, very easy. In fact, okay, that'll be a story for another time if you guys are interested. I have a story about. I was running all over creation, whatever. The story I'm going to end this with is I remember the first time I got a real mattress. My mom, I was coming home from school. I still had my backpack on. I was opening the door to the. My mom was opening the door and everything. She said, "Look, I have something for you." Or I don't know what was going on. I think somebody else picked me up. I'm not sure. But I'm walking home. I guess I just walked right on over because the bus. It wasn't that far. My mom was fine. They said whatever. My mom tells me to come into the room, and this is about the time that we were having to move and things like that. So everything is empty. So the only thing in this room is this giant mattress on the floor. And she said, "I got you a mattress," and I thought it was an air mattress because that's what it's always been. And then I see my sister and her friend jumping on it, and it terrifies me because you're not allowed to do that. It's going to pop it. You can't be rough with these cheap air mattresses. Everything pops them. You look at an air mattress and it pops. You won't do anything. You leave it in the bag and it'll pop. Not tear, pop. Literally just it'll fill up with air and pop itself just to spite you because the devil's in that box. You know what I mean? And I scream, "No, stop, you're going to pop it. Stop." I'm distraught. I'm literally distraught. And the evil woman that my mom is, who knew that she could have told me that it was a real mattress beforehand, she's laughing her little butt off because she likes messing with people, She liked messing with us a little bit. She didn't like seeing us suffer. She just liked to mess with us a little bit. And she tells me it's a real mattress. You can jump on it. Heart through the roof. I mean, I was smiling ear to ear. I was a I got red faced. I was excited. I didn't know what to say. I jumped on that mattress for who knows how long. Literally, just I've never done that. I always saw it on TV, on movies, and things like that. I just never got to do it, you know. So while I had slept on a mattress before, obviously I had a freaking crib, you know. Just spent most of my time on the floor, and you know, why that's funny is because literally we got evicted, and I was sleeping on the floor again. But it didn't matter to me because I thought, nah, I'll get to sleep on that mattress again. That's mine, and I'll have it. Yeah. Well, anyway, I've got a lot of stories that I just can't remember right now. My memory's bad. I have a lot of trauma from a lot of different things. You grow up in bad areas and sometimes good areas and whatever. You just grow up around people that are just bad people, and you block a lot of it out. I have a lot of problems. But that's why I'm a comedian. You laugh every day. You just try to forget. You push it all down. You don't remember anything. That's why my memory's bad. I don't want to remember, you know. Anyway, if I do ever remember, if you guys have any interest in seeing more of that, you just let me know. Comment, like, subscribe. I don't know. I don't care. Do it, please. I'm desperately trying to get partnered with YouTube. I don't care if I made $1. I don't care if I made a penny every video I uploaded. That's money that I could make. I'd upload like at least 4 times a day. 4 pennies a day. Doesn't matter. All right. That means that I have 30 days of 4 pennies each of those days. So, please, I am trying my best not to be broke. I don't want to work retail anymore. I don't want to work these things, and I know that I'm too stupid for college. I don't got the patience. I got ADHD. I just don't want to. My true goals and true passions, the only thing I want to do in life is entertain people. That's it. I don't want to do this for fame. I just want to do this so I can, one, for money, obviously, yeah, but 2, it's the only thing that ever made me happy. I was not a very happy kid. I was and wasn't. There's you don't know any different when you grow up in that kind of area and that kind of environment. You don't know any different. You just think that's how life is, but you just realize later on that everything sucks. So you guys have a good day. If this resonates with you,